It was Napoleon Hill who said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." The word belief is powerful. I once read a book by Joseph Murphy called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and I was amazed and shocked by how the human mind operates. The book led me to do a reality check. I realized that I needed to use my mental faculties to build a strong belief system. Many of us grew up with a limiting belief system. We were taught certain things about life that are contrary to where we want to go. We were taught that you need to work hard for money instead of allowing money to work hard for you. We were taught that success is only for a select few. Myron Golden calls it the societal mechanic system deception, where society impresses certain beliefs through repetition to make us stay within conventional boundaries. We were taught that that's just the way life is. And if you don't reprogram your mind and build a new belief system, you will remain stuck where you are. You need to break out of that pattern, or you'll always be bound by those limiting beliefs and never reach the next level. Listen to me very closely. You are powerful. You are strong. Whatever you set your mind to do, you can do it. So what does it take to reprogram your subconscious mind? What does it take to elevate your intellectual property to think bigger and do bigger? It starts by making a definite decision to go to the next level and to dream bigger and to stop taking L's. Once you train your subconscious mind, your body will automatically follow. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Los Cabos, Mexico, standing on the beach, looking at the waves, feeling the sunshine, seeing the birds. In that moment, I experienced something called deja vu. I saw myself living in this reality, and I believed that I could travel internationally and experience what life truly has to offer. I changed my belief system. I believed that I could travel, see the world, and enjoy life. Because as a teen, I wasn't able to travel as often as others, so I believed that staying local was the norm for me. Do you believe that your mind can take you places? If only you believe and imagine, you can go places in life. The more you believe and get exposed to new experiences, the more your mindset becomes open and vulnerable to change. Every new realm you enter becomes your new reality. I once read in my favorite book that all things are possible to those who believe. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to turn your brain off and just answer. Do you believe that it's possible? At one point, I didn't believe in myself as a kid. I'll always anticipate and get too excited when I knew something good was going to happen. And I remember my mom used to tell me, "Rechy, don't get too excited." I wondered, who am I to believe I could pull this game we call life off and turn my life around? Who are you to believe in the good? You came from nothing, sleeping in your car, your dad not being in your life, and yet you believed that you could rise despite the hardship and trauma. Do you have the audacity to dream big? Do you have the audacity to succeed? We all have dreams. Everyone dreams. Martin Luther King had a dream and believed that one day racial equality, freedom, and justice would be realized. Though he is dead, he still speaks. That dream that he had is still alive in 2024. That doesn't mean that the world isn't still evil, and racism, prejudice, and inequality doesn't exist here and there, but belief can make a difference. I suggest to you that whatever you focus on, whatever you believe will come to pass, because where focus goes, energy flows. I wrote the dream, I made the decision, I prayed, I tapped into what I needed to tap into, made the encounters that I needed to stir up my belief system, and made it happen. But it wasn't easy. It's never going to be easy trying to change. Your current mentality will always fight your passion. One of the hardest things I had to do was challenge myself and my faulty beliefs. I had to break out of the programming that told me I couldn't speak in front of people. How dare I call myself a motivational speaker? From someone who took speech classes in middle school and used to stutter. How dare I call myself a life coach? From someone who was labeled a juvenile delinquent, struggled in school, got my GED. How dare I? However, when I see successful people like Eric Thomas, who slept in abandoned buildings, ate out of trash cans, and took 12 years to get a 4-year degree, could become a millionaire, then I can do it too. If Bob Proctor, who lacked direction in his life, was struggling financially to make ends meet, washing floors, barely making it by, to now becoming one of the greats in the self-development industry, till this day, though he is dead, his tapes still speak life to us, benefiting tons of people to view life in a different perspective, then I can do it too. If Les Brown, who was labeled educationally mentally retarded, could barely get ahead in life throughout his upbringing, sleeping in his office late night, dreaming and hoping that he can figure life out, crack the code, then I can do it too. Eric Thomas, Bob Proctor, Les Brown are all human just like we are. The only difference is that they believed that their dreams were possible to achieve, and we are no different. As we reflect on our mindsets and beliefs, we must admit that there are faulty beliefs that need to be broken. Once I made up my mind that I can, I will, and I must, the door started to open and the flood came out of nowhere. Right now, I'm in a season where I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I see myself in a boxing ring, fighting with the old me. It's like a mental match we all need to engage in. We're all fighting within ourselves to be better, to do better, and to live better. I see the old me throwing punches at me, telling me, "You want to keep fighting, Rechy? Come on. You want to keep bleeding? You willing to keep going another round? Come on. Are you willing to survive all the punches and not throw the towel? Come on. Are you willing to enter into a higher realm and come up higher? Come on." I see it as a mental challenge that shakes me out of my old paradigm and belief systems. There was a movie called Tesla that I watched, in the movie describes a biker named Tommy struggling with alcoholism and grief, living a depressed life, and a 9-year-old girl named Tesla shows up in his life, claiming to be his daughter, full of energy and optimism. And one day Tesla discovers an ultrasound picture and questions Tommy about it. Tommy then begins to look back at his past and remembers his wife approaching him, saying, "Tommy, I'm pregnant, and it's a baby boy." She was kind of happy, thinking that Tommy was going to be as excited as her. However, Tommy isn't too excited about the news and says, "Get rid of it." She says, "What do you mean? This is our son." Tommy replies back and says, "Get rid of it." The wife drops the ultrasound picture, cries, and runs into her car. She drives off to the nearest lake, lost, frustrated, hurt, and traumatized. As she is in the car crying, she receives a phone call from Tommy and disregards the call and takes half a bottle of pills and drinks it and gets out of the car slowly, walks towards the lake, and as she is walking, she goes a little deeper and commits suicide, killing herself and the unborn baby she was carrying in her womb. What happened? She lost belief in herself. She no longer believed in the future. She gave up on the baby and killed 2 birds in 1 stone. A lack of belief can cause you to give up on yourself and on others who count and depend on you. A 2002 study showed that scientists started to discover about the placebo effect. All the way up to 2022, there was a study in the American Journal of Cardiology explored the placebo effect on cardiovascular health. The study found that belief and expectation can create radical changes in a person's health. So say it with conviction. I expect to win. I expect to be great. I expect to live life full and die empty. The story of the tortoise and the hare has inspired millions to believe in themselves, even when their current circumstances are limited. In the forest, the tortoise and the hare decides to race. The hare mocks the tortoise, looking at his current reality and saying, "You don't stand a chance." Have you ever had a hare in your life that belittled your capacity? The hare, looking at his current reality, acknowledges to himself that he is incapacitated and disabled in skill. However, he not only believes that he can win the race, he believes in himself that even though the hare has more speed, has more grace to run, he attempts to race the hare and bets on himself that he will find a way and figure out how to win. Despite his physical limitations, the tortoise believed in himself. He believed that he could win the race. Sometimes we just need to bet on ourselves and believe that we can do anything that we set our minds out to do in life. I had to believe that I can turn my life around. Despite being labeled a juvenile delinquent and criminal, I had to believe that I can live life too and be happy and write my own story and enjoy what we call life. I had to believe that I can speak to an audience and give them something impactful. Even though I'm still growing and learning, I had to remove the common fear that I'm not good enough and that they're going to look at me as a young person and disregard the information that I have to give. The fear is going to come, but it doesn't have to overtake you. The tortoise knew that the hare was going to outsmoke him, but he believed that if he believes, somehow, some way, life might reward him because of his faith. The race begins and the hare quickly runs ahead. Confident in his speed, he takes a nap. But the tortoise stayed committed, believing that he could finish the race. One of the lessons that we can take from this story is to not get too cocky and too comfortable with your position in life, because the person that you are looking down on right now may just be the same person that you will look up to one day, just because they practice the law of belief. Never despise small beginnings. The tortoise, still moving forward, still believing in himself, catches up to the hare, who is sleeping, and remains persistent to the goal. He believes that it's possible to still finish the race. He stays committed to the race, and finally, the hare wakes up and realizes that the tortoise already passed him and won the race. Most people never achieve their dreams because they let their limiting beliefs stop them. They don't even start the race. They let the critics, haters, and their enemies play with their mind and paralyze them to not even start the race. But I challenge you, start the race. Do the impossible. Have the belief that you can do whatever you set your mind and heart to do. You can do it. Live life like it was your last day on earth. I was on a podcast a few days ago, and I was asked the question, why do we need to act now? What's the urgency of doing things in the now? I responded and said that we need to act now because tomorrow isn't promised. People die every day. Statistics state that on average, 160,000 people die per day globally. And one day you're going to be in that statistic. This isn't a scare tactic. People die every day. A few days ago, I got out of class and saw someone sitting down alone with their head down crying. I approached the person and asked her what happened, and she told me her grandfather had just passed away and she was preparing the letter for the funeral. Life is short. You either are going to believe in yourself as you are here on earth, or you're going to allow your limiting beliefs to drown you and keep you down. Use your mind, use your higher faculties, and from now on, believe that you can do the impossible and that you can change your life. Because whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.